So we ended the Cold War by talking about the influence that Ronald Reagan had in getting Mikhail Gorbachev to cause reforms. Now, Ronald Reagan was kind of a unique president. He was an actor before he became a politician. He started a movie with a chimpanzee, believe it or not. He's going to become governor of California, and by 1980, he ascends to the presidency of the United States. Now, Ronald Reagan is an extremely popular person. If you look at an electoral map of his victory in the presidential election, the map is almost entirely Republican. I think he owns the record for most electoral votes in an election. Now, Ronald Reagan is what America today calls a conservative. He's very pro-American and American dream. For example, he doesn't think the government should have as many regulations as other governments. So he wants less rules from the government, more like a loose thing. He'd get along with the anti-federalists of years ago. And he kind of had a point. See, between the New Deal and President Johnson's reforms of the 60s, American government had gotten a little bit big. We were spending a lot of money on federal programs. Now, Reagan wants people working, not living off the government. And it's going to be his goal to shrink government, grow the economy, and make sure the government's not interfering in people's everyday lives. Also, Reagan and the Republican Party tend to be very pro-military. And remember that he comes in at the tail end of the Cold War. Ronald Reagan is going to use the United States military in an interventionist way. And his ideologies are going to be reflective in other presidents. But first, a little bit more about Reagan. Ronald Reagan championed tax cuts. Taxes are seen as restricting trade and putting undue burden on corporations who could then use money to pay people instead of paying taxes. Ronald Reagan wanted less power in the hands of the federal government and more to state governments. Like I said, he would have gotten along with the anti-federalists of old. He's going to do something which is appointing judges who exercise judicial restraint. There had been a lot of court cases where the courts interpreted what they thought the Constitution could lead to instead of actually looking at the words. Any Supreme Court justice that Ronald Reagan's going to appoint is going to exhibit judicial restraint and try to stay true to what they believed was the spirit of the Constitution. Ronald Reagan's going to cut down the scope of government programs and regulations. Don't want to restrain business. And he's also going to strengthen America's military. He wanted us to be on top.